All right, so what is going on, guys? It is Noah here, and I'm back bringing you guys another new video. And for today's video, we're doing something a little bit different. Today, I wanted to make my Pokemon mainline game tier list, and I just thought this would be a fun video to make because I do get a lot of questions over on my streams of what Pokemon games are my favorite and what Pokemon games I like better than others, and just my opinions on the 30-something different Pokemon games we have to choose from. And obviously, this video is going to be filled with only my opinion. I feel like I really shouldn't have to say that, but I know the YouTube comments are going to be crazy on this one. And at the end of the day, I really don't think there's a Pokemon game that is just like bad, because in all honesty, at the end of the day, every Pokemon game is fun if you enjoy the genre of capturing virtual creatures and making them fight for you. So I really do think every single one of these games on screen right now can be fun in some way. It's just obviously, in my opinion, I think some are better than others. And now that I finally got that out of the way, I think we're going to go ahead and begin here. And I'm going to try to be pretty brief when I explain why I put each game in what tier, because obviously I could sit here for like 3 hours and just go into depth on every single game, but we're not going to do that today. So starting us off with the no thanks tier, definitely my least favorite Pokemon games are going to go in here. And to start us off, unfortunately, I'm going to go ahead and put Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee in this tier. I really do want to like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but it's just definitely not for me. I really feel like this is the Pokemon game catered most towards children, and you can make the argument that all of these games are catered towards children, but honestly, Pokemon is really catered towards all age groups, especially there's some really mature games in here, as in they would explore themes that like a lot of 6-year-olds want to understand. But Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is unfortunately the one I feel like it's most catered towards kids and casual players. And I would honestly be okay with that if the catching wasn't so bad. I feel like you guys hear this a bunch about Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but the catching is just unbearable for me. I really wish there was an option to do traditional catching instead, or at least let me use the Pro Controller when I'm playing in docked mode. But for somebody who plays the Switch almost entirely in docked mode, it's just not the Pokemon game for me. I will say there are some good parts of Let's Go that I do appreciate. Like, I really do like the graphics. I think the graphics in this game look really good, as well as like the ride Pokemon actually have uses, like the Onix, the Snorlax, and there's actually like a really cool following feature. But other than that, I'm not going to go too much more into that. That's just how I feel about Let's Go. So moving on up to the meh tier. And I feel like this is going to be a pretty unpopular opinion to put this game in the meh tier, but our first game going in this tier is unfortunately going to be the originals Red and Blue. So just for a little background, my first ever Pokemon games was Pokemon Blue and Pokemon Crystal. I was gifted both of them at the same exact time. So I do have a lot of time in Gen 1, don't get me wrong. But I just feel like when we're comparing Red and Blue to the rest of these other Pokemon games, these are definitely the ones that aged the worst. And to be fair, it's not even their fault. They literally came out in 1996 on the original Game Boy. So it's not a surprise that they didn't age as well as some of these other games. But there's just so many glitches. Even outside of battle, there's a ton of glitches. Inside of battle, there's a ton of glitches. Certain moves don't work. Certain type advantages are just off. And I know this is an unpopular opinion. I watch tier list videos all the time of Pokemon, and I see a lot of people putting these up here, which is totally understandable in my opinion. But just for me personally, I just gotta put it in the meh tier. Some good things I do like about Gen 1 though is I honestly like almost every single Pokemon in Gen 1. I know the Gen 1 Pokemon get a lot of flack for being like too simple or whatever, but I really do think we need simple Pokemon here and there. Obviously, another great part of these is it kicked off everything for all of these Pokemon games on screen right now, which is something to appreciate. I also think Kanto is perfectly fine. I know Kanto gets a lot of flack for being too simple or too easy or whatever, but I enjoy it. And then also, I think the legendaries in this game are great. Mew, Mewtwo, the legendary birds. But as a whole, it's just going to go in the meh tier for me, unfortunately. And then following right along, we're just going to have to put Yellow right there as well, just because it's just super similar. And like I said, it just didn't age as well as a lot of the other games. And it's actually pretty funny that I'm putting Yellow in the meh tier because I literally have this Pokemon Yellow thing on my wall. But that doesn't mean it's one of my favorite Pokemon games. I just like Pikachu. Actually, a newer game is going to join these originals, and we're going to go ahead and put X and Y in the meh tier. I know there's actually a lot of people that enjoy X and Y. There's a lot of people that don't enjoy X and Y. And unfortunately, I happen to be on the end where I don't enjoy them as much. Just in my opinion, it's one of the easiest Pokemon games ever. You can make an argument that any of these games on screen are pretty easy, but X and Y are just so easy compared to the rest of them for me. The region isn't memorable for me at all. Honestly, on my first playthrough, the only thing I remember about the region is when these games first came out, that your save file would get deleted if you saved in that really big round city. And literally that's the only thing I remember about the region. Also, they only added like 72 new Pokemon to this generation, which honestly isn't a bad thing in my opinion, but all 72 of them, I don't even remember any of them. None of them are memorable for me at all. I don't really have too many favorite Pokemon from Gen 6. I have a few here and there, but honestly, I think the Pokemon were just a lot of misses in this gen. The rivals are totally forgettable as well. I can't even tell you any of their names. But just to be fair, a couple things I do like about Gen 6 is also it introduced Mega Pokemon, which I feel like is a lot of people's favorite gimmick, mine included. I think Megas were great, and I really wish they kept going outside of Gen 6 and 7. But other than that, I'm not going to go too much more into it. Just Gen 6, X and Y, not my favorite. Starting us off with the good tier, we're going to go ahead and put Gold and Silver in the good tier. Honestly, I think Gold and Silver and Gen 2 in general is just a really great evolution of Gen 1. Obviously, the one people talk about the most is that Gen 2 has both Johto and Kanto, which is just beautiful. I also think the Gen 2 Pokemon are really great as well, especially the legendaries. I love Ho-Oh, love Lugia. The actual Johto region is really fun and the music is amazing. And it also was the generation that introduced shiny Pokemon. And I definitely feel like these games are much more replayable than Gen 1. I pretty much have no desire to go back and play Gen 1, but Gen 2 is honestly not that bad. And I definitely would replay Gen 2 for fun. And our next Pokemon game in the good tier is actually going to be Sword and Shield, you guys. And honestly, I was not a huge fan of these Generation 8 games. And it honestly kind of pains me to put them in good tier. But the reason they are in good tier is because these games got carried so hard by the DLC. Honestly, if this game never had those 2 DLC packs that it got, it would probably be here. My biggest gripe with Sword and Shield is these games felt so incredibly rushed for some reason. I don't know why. I also don't love the Generation 8 Pokemon. I don't even have a favorite Pokemon from Gen 8. I also very much so dislike the starters. I think the base starter evolutions, so all the first stage evolutions for the starters, are great. And then as they evolve, man, what is going on? Also, the region, Galar. Why is Galar so linear? You literally go from the bottom to the top as you continue to go through the game, and it's just like, why, dude? Another thing I hate about Gen 8 is the scaling of the Pokemon in battle is so off. Obviously, outside of battle, I mean, like the Wailord in the DLC area is really nicely scaled. But when you're actually in battle, the scaling of the Pokemon, like the actual sizes of them, are so off and it's horrible. Anyways, I just sat here and made fun of Sword and Shield for like the longest time after putting it in good tier. But there are some good things I like about Sword and Shield. Like I said, the DLC absolutely carried. The 2 DLCs are so fun. The quality of life features are actually really good in Gen 8 as well. Like the XP candies, oh my god, beautiful. And then honestly, I know Sword and Shield got a lot of flack for not having all the Pokemon in the National Dex or whatever that was. But after the 2 DLCs were added, there's like almost 700 Pokemon in these games. So they're pretty good, but you do have to pay for the DLC. So if we're not talking about that. And then our next game that's going to go in the good tier is actually going to be Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, you guys. This might be a hot take, honestly, especially right now. I feel like most people would put these somewhere right here for some reason. And in all honesty, they're literally just Diamond and Pearl on the Switch. And the reason I'm perfectly okay with that is because the DS prices right now, like the market for DSs and 3DSs is so spiked, especially for Pokemon and Pokemon games. And it's like the fact that we can just have Diamond and Pearl on the Switch and make it accessible for way more people is honestly a good thing in my opinion. Also, not to mention Diamond and Pearl weren't the most quality of life Pokemon games ever, and the fact that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl actually add like a million quality of life features to Gen 4 makes it so fun for me. Obviously, we have no more HMs. I don't know who I have to thank for that, but that is the greatest thing ever. Also, I actually really like the Grand Underground. I like the fact that you can catch Pokemon down there. There definitely should have been platinum content in these games. I don't know why they just chose to not have any platinum content. And also another bad thing that I griped with Sword and Shield about, the scaling of the Pokemon in battle is so bad, you guys. I personally like BDSP. I totally understand that there's people that hate it, but for me, it's staying in the good tier, you guys. And the first game going in the great tier for me, Pokemon Crystal. I already did go over a lot of the reasons why I love Gen 2 with this good tier right here. And then obviously Crystal is just a better version of that. I really like the animated sprites as well in this game compared to Gold and Silver. The fact that you can catch all the legendaries in Crystal as well is really cool. So I did already go over why I like Gen 2. Crystal's just a better version of that and going in the great tier for me. All right, next game in great tier, you guys, Ruby and Sapphire. I feel like these were amazing step ups from Gen 2 as well. They took a huge leap forward onto the Game Boy Advance. The starters are all really great as well. And of course, the legendaries are great. Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza, Deoxys. We got a lot of really cool legendaries in this game. And honestly, just great step ups from Gen 2. I already told you guys how much I like Gen 2, so Gen 3 is obviously going to be in great tier right next to Crystal. Fire Red and Leaf Green are going right next to Ruby and Sapphire here. In my opinion, Fire Red and Leaf Green are definitely the best ways to experience Gen 1. One of the big things I griped on with Red and Blue was how bad the games aged. And I feel like Fire Red and Leaf Green just fixed all of that. And honestly, I feel like these are just very iconic Pokemon games. I feel like a lot of people can resonate with Fire Red and Leaf Green. Continuing with the great tier here, you guys, we are going to move on to Diamond and Pearl right next to Fire Red and Leaf Green. Obviously, I'm a huge Gen 4 fan, so Diamond and Pearl are just great games for me. These were also the first mainline Pokemon games on the Nintendo DS, and I feel like they did an amazing job for their first time on that console. Starters are amazing. The Pokemon are amazing. The region is amazing. There's a million legendaries to catch. And honestly, like I said, for their first time on the DS, I even think the graphics were amazing as well. And honestly, the only bad things I would say about Gen 4 is there's way too many HMs. Already went into this with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. But other than that, I have a lot of Gen 4 love, as you guys can tell. So moving on to our next games in the great tier here is going to be Gen 5, Black and White. I do appreciate a couple of things from Gen 5 and Black and White in general. And one thing is that the story in the game is actually super mature, you guys. And what I mean by mature is it's actually like thought-provoking and stuff like that. It was honestly really refreshing having a Pokemon story like this. Definitely Gen 5 strong suit. The whole truth versus ideals during the whole story was really cool. And honestly, the version exclusives between Black and White are really cool as well. I love how there's different cities in both games. Some bad parts of Black and White, the fact that there's no other Pokemon except the Gen 5 Pokemon throughout the story is a bad thing for me. I feel like some people could enjoy that, but just for me personally, not a huge fan. So moving on with the great tier, you guys, right after Gen 5, we're actually going to be moving over to Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby. These are pretty great games, honestly. Great remakes of Gen 3. Had the Mega Pokemon gimmick as well. There was actually new Pokemon during your actual playthrough that weren't catchable in the normal Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald, which was also great. The post game is really cool. There's that whole Delta episode you guys go through. But other than that, you guys, all in all, I think they're great. And then I feel like this next game in the great tier might be an unpopular opinion, you guys, but it is not unpopular for me because I think Sun and Moon are great Pokemon games. Honestly, I just have a lot of Gen 7 love. I feel like these games just get hated on way too much. I really like how they did the graphics on the 3DS. I feel like Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon definitely have the best graphics on any 3DS game. But honestly, I just think the Gen 7 Pokemon are amazing. The region is amazing and super unique. I love how they got rid of the gyms for this game. This is also the first game where we started getting like regional variants of Pokemon, which is one of my favorite things in Pokemon. And honestly, just got a lot of love for these games. I will say a couple of bad things about these games is it's very handholdy at the start of the game. I feel like for your first hour or so playing these games, it's very handholdy and can be annoying. But honestly, once you get past that, I feel like these games are great. But all in all, I think these are great games. Love Sun and Moon. Love Gen 7. All right, you guys, for the next games we're going to be talking about here, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are S-tier Pokemon games, you guys. Absolutely love Gen 7. I just went over how many things I love about Gen 7 with the Sun and Moon right here. But honestly, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are just that much better than Sun and Moon that I have to S-tier it. Definitely, in my opinion, the most underrated Pokemon games in the whole series. I feel like a lot of people slept on Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon because of how similar the beginnings of both games are. Obviously, with the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, we get everything great about Gen 7. But honestly, these games are actually very difficult. And a lot of people didn't even realize that because they didn't make it to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I love the difficulty jump from Sun and Moon to Ultra Sun and Moon. The totem Pokemon in these games are like actually difficult, you guys. Also, they added new Pokemon in this game, like more Ultra Beasts and stuff like that. A way bigger post game. The Ultra Wormholes were amazing. Every legendary up until this point is catchable in this game and shiny huntable for the most part. Overall, I just think these games are amazing. Gen 7 is such a unique gen and we had never seen something like it up until this point. Next up, you guys, moving right along with our S tier is going to be Pokemon Emerald. I feel like Pokemon Emerald has got to be an S tier game for a lot of Pokemon fans out there. Definitely the best way to experience Gen 3 in my opinion. I said a lot of the things why I like Gen 3 in my Ruby and Sapphire one right here. So obviously it just makes it that much better in Emerald, and the post game is obviously much better in Emerald, and honestly it's just a really great Pokemon experience. Another game that I have to S tier is going to be Black and White 2. Similar to these games next to it, is just the best game in its generation. I love the fact that we can finally use Pokemon not from Gen 5 in the original playthrough. Also, one thing I really appreciate is that it's actually a sequel game. It was also really cool to see how the region and how the characters aged from the original Black and White to Black and White 2, since there's a couple of years there in between both games. And the fact that you actually start the game from a different point where you start the original Black and White, and honestly that alone makes the games feel so different and so original. And all in all, like I said, I can go on all day about how great these three games are right here. Some amazing Pokemon games up here, you guys. All right, you guys, and moving right along here, Pokemon Platinum is going to be our first god tier Pokemon game, you guys. As someone who just absolutely loves Gen 4, these are definitely the best way to experience Gen 4 still. A lot of things bad about Diamond and Pearl is how small the Pokedex was and the Pokemon variety wasn't that great. Platinum definitely fixed that. Also, the story in Platinum is much better and way better paced than the normal Diamond and Pearl. It actually fixed how slow Diamond and Pearl was because the health bar was really slow, the surfing was really slow, and Platinum ended up fixing that as well. The distortion world is really cool. The graphical upgrades from Diamond and Pearl to Platinum is really cool as well. And yeah, I feel like in my opinion, Platinum is just one of those untouchable Pokemon games. Definitely some of the best, if not the best game in the Pokemon series. Moving right along with our god tier here, you guys. Heart Gold and Soul Silver are going to be right next to Platinum. Heart Gold and Soul Silver, amazing, perfect, beautiful remakes of Gen 2. And it's actually a remake that has crystal content, which is amazing. Something Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl couldn't do with Platinum. And it's also a Gen 2 game that got all the quality of life features from Gen 3 and 4. So many legendaries to catch in these games, you guys. The graphics are great. The music is some of the best in the series. So much to do in these games due to the two regions once again. And honestly, these are just perfect Pokemon games in my opinion. And finally, you guys, I had to throw an oddball in here for you guys, but in my opinion, Pokemon Legends Arceus is a god tier Pokemon game, you guys. I'm sorry. Oh, where do I even start with this, you guys? The fact that Legends Arceus took a giant leap compared to any other Pokemon game we have seen, and they actually succeeded is easily what makes it god tier, you guys. Legends Arceus is so different compared to any other Pokemon game we've ever had, and it is just beautiful. I genuinely felt like a child again when I got some of my first Pokemon games. That feeling, it all came back with Legends Arceus. The fact that like just exploring in general and like actually catching Pokemon is just fun. It's literally just fun, you guys. I don't know how they pulled it off, but I'm telling you guys, like your first playthrough of Legends Arceus, when you see a new Pokemon you haven't caught before, you're just like, oh shoot, like I gotta catch it. And the feeling is just indescribable, you guys. The seamless battles and the seamless catching is easily the best part of this game. The fact that you can jump in and out of battles like immediately, and the fact that I don't even have to encounter the Pokemon to catch it. I can just long bomb a Pokeball from far away, and it makes the game feel so smooth and amazing. The quality of life improvements as well in Legends is amazing. The fact that you can manually evolve your Pokemon whenever you want, the fact that you can change moves around whenever you want. And I really hope in the future for new games that they build off of Legends Arceus, because these are amazing games, you guys. Obviously, you can sit here and say all the little tiny bad things that is in Legends, but overall, God tier Pokemon game for me. And this is going to wrap up our mainline Pokemon tier list, you guys. I wanted to make this tier list just so I can get all my opinions out there, and so we can see where Scarlet and Violet falls for me once these games do come out. Hope you guys understand and enjoyed all my opinions on all these Pokemon games. I'm sure some of you guys love me right now, and some of you guys want me dead. And hopefully you guys like something a little bit different here on the channel. Obviously, we do a lot of shiny hunting on various different Pokemon games. So before we go, if you guys didn't know, we stream Pokemon content all the time over on our Twitch channel. I highly recommend you go over there and follow if you haven't already. The link is always in the top of the description. And other than that, you guys leave a like on this if you did enjoy. Now we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, everybody.